Hello and welcome to Anambra Votes, our special program on the run-up to and the coverage of the Anambra State governorship elections scheduled to hold on Saturday, November 6, 2021. Now, by our reckoning, it's just about 41 hours to the opening of polls at 8 a.m. on Saturday in all the 5,640 polling units spread across the 326 political wards in the 21 local government areas that make up Anambra State. This is a standalone governorship election with about 2,525,471 registered voters who are expected to decide who among the 18 parties and candidates declared for this election will occupy the Aguoka Government House from March next year, when the term of the current governor, Willie Obiano, will run out. In the estimation of the electoral umpire, and that's talking about the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, all appears set for the conduct of the polls as it has completed all but two of the processes it outlined in its timetable for the conduct of the elections as far back as January 19, 2021. Now, the only outstanding items in that schedule are the termination of campaigns, which will be at 12 midnight this Thursday, and election day activities. Now, the electoral body and other critical stakeholders have so far defied all the odds, including threats of violence and re-violence, intimidation, and other forms of security risks to get to this stage of the electoral process. What is left now is for the eligible voters in the state to summon the courage to step out on election day to cast their votes for their preferred candidates, as INEC and the various security agencies have given assurances of a free, fair, and safe environment for credible polls. The political parties themselves had earlier today, this Thursday, reinforced that by signing a peace pact brokered by the General Abdulsalam Abubakar and Bishop Hassan Kuka-led National Peace Committee.
Prince Ume Izoke Afam Luke Douglas. The candidates, please come with your chairman. Thank you.
That was the peace pact that was signed just a few hours ago in Awka, the Anambra State capital. And all 18 candidates, 18 political parties were part of that process. Now, going by the security arrangements announced by the Commissioner of Police for Anambra State, Echeng, on Tuesday at a stakeholders meeting in Awka, a security cordon will be thrown around and within the state from 12 midnight this Thursday. This means that all borders and boundaries linking Anambra with neighboring states will be locked down as part of measures to guarantee security. Movement of vehicles and persons will not be allowed into the state during the period of the lockdown, which will be until the close of polls, and maybe possibly until the final collation and declaration of results, given the peculiar security situation in the state at this time. Now, in addition, about 125 anti-riot policemen are being deployed to each of the 21 local government areas in the state to ensure a hitch-free exercise, particularly in places which the police says it has identified as flashpoints and camps of violent agitators who are bent on preventing the election from holding.
The next 3 days, only 3 days remaining to election day. As far as INEC is concerned, there are 2 activities left in our timetable and schedule of activities. The first one is the end of campaign by political parties, which is at midnight tomorrow, Thursday, 4th November 2021. The second is election day, which is Saturday, 6th November 2021. These 2 activities will conclude the 14 items listed on the timetable for the election released by the Commission about 11 months ago.
This country is ours to fix, and I think Anambra has the manpower. Like I said in the morning, the people who are contesting for elections in Anambra, each and every one of them literally qualifies to be contesting for the presidency of Nigeria. And guess what? The elections are here. If you decide you don't want to vote, you have voted. If you decide that you are not going to vote, it will not stop the process. It only means that the candidate you didn't want may probably be the one to win the elections, and you have to live with the consequences. So there's very little else except to say that our lives are in the hands of God. And I do not think that any citizen of Nigeria should feel so afraid of their lives that they are afraid to live up to their political responsibility. So that's all I can say. I mean, and finally, the person contesting election in Anambra, the people contesting election, one of who will be governor of Anambra, his name will not be Tunde, his name will not be Abubakar, his name will not be Toby, his name will be the name of an Anambra son. So whatever reservations anybody may have, this is a family affair. So we are not, nobody is imposing. It's not that we are in a military in which somebody has been imposed on the people of Anambra. This we are choosing from among your sons and daughters.
All right, let's now shift our attention to the election proper. INEC says it will deploy biometric voter accreditation system, otherwise known as BVAS devices, in place of the smart card reader used for previous elections since 2015. The BVAS has the dual capacity for fingerprint and facial authentication of voters. The BVAS device also abolishes the use of the incident form, which has been a backup for the card reader since 2015. Now, another function of the BVAS is that it is equipped with a camera, which has a capacity to snap polling unit level results and upload same to the INEC result view, that's the IREV portal. Now, this also means that the BVAS is replacing the Z-Pad, which was effectively used in uploading results in the Edo and Ondo governorship elections last year. The BVAS was first deployed for the Isoko South 1 state constituency by-election in Delta State in September this year, precisely September 11th this year, when that election held. Now, the expectation is that with the innovations introduced by INEC, there will be an improved voter turnout on election day. Now, election figures in Anambra since 2010 show a pattern of high voter apathy, with less than a quarter of eligible voters turning out each time to vote. Now, a review of the voting pattern indicates that in the 2010 election, only about 304,000, representing for about 16% of the 1.8 million registered voters, actually took part in that election. Only 16% of them voted. Now, in 2013, only 465,000 891 out of over 1.7 million registered voters, which represented about 24% of eligible voters participated in that election. The situation was even worse in 2017, as only 448,771 voters, or 21.7% of the over 2 million registered voters took part in that election. The big question now is, what will the situation be this time around with all the security challenges around this election? Well, we will be finding answers to all of that. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll be meeting our guest on the program today, a former Nigerian ambassador who is a member of the Anambra campaign organization. Let's go on the break, and we'll be back. Well, thank you so much for staying with us on Anambra Votes 2021. And our guest this afternoon is Ambassador Jerry Ugokwe. Ambassador Ugokwe is a member of the Anambra National Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress. Anambra, of course, is a candidate of the APC in the Anambra elections. Jerry Ugokwe is a former member of Nigeria's House of Representatives and former Nigeria's ambassador to Austria, Slovakia, and was also the permanent representative of Nigeria to the UN offices in Vienna and the OPEC. Thank you so much, Ambassador Ugokwe, for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here again. It's been quite some time. And good afternoon, Nigerian.
Welcome. Well, unfortunately, your candidate, Mr. Andy Oba, is unable to join us. So we will be trying to find out from you how prepared the APC and the Andy Oba Campaign Council is for Saturday's election, which is less than 41 hours from now.
Thank you so very much. And I want to say that, first of all, I am right on ground. I am not in Abuja, I'm in Anambra State. So when I talk about readiness of the party to conduct, or rather participate in the election and win by the grace of God, I am talking from a point of view of someone who is right where it is happening. As I was just coming back from the campaign rally and house to house and door to door programs that we had, I saw a long range of INEC vehicles, police, army, who are taking, I believe, the materials to the different local government headquarters. Let me say, outright that APC is ready. APC is excited about this election because the APC has done more than any other political party what it takes to win this election. And I hope, that you had been seeing and hearing what is going on in Anambra. It is a mass movement to APC. I'm sure you know that the deputy governor of the APGA is now a member of the APC, which means that the government of Anambra State is now shared into two, one to APGA, the other one to APC. Then you are assembly have all moved on to APC. Beyond that, members of the House of Representatives have moved into APC. The senator representing the PDP has also moved into APC, which means that if you come to Senate today and you talk about Anambra State, we have 3 senators. 1 is APC, 2 is PDP, and 3 is YPP. So we are fully ready. And, I must say that as these people come in, they are coming with all their foot soldiers, with all their supporters. And having all of them in APC clearly says, that APC you knew of yesterday is no longer the APC of today in Anambra State. Anambra State has come to love APC, and that is why everybody is queuing on the line to join APC in Anambra State. And I'm happy about it. I'm excited. I just came out of a meeting where another group of what they call chairman of chairmen of all the chairmen of a particular sect in Anambra State of PDP have all moved into APC this afternoon. So there is no stopping APC. And today, one of the members of Anambra State, Federal House of Representatives, who contested the governorship of the APGA, will formally collapse all his campaign mechanisms into that of APC. So a lot is happening, and we're excited.
All right, Ambassador Ogokwe, let's move on to specifics now. For you, what exactly is the APC and your candidate, Andiuba, bringing to the table that would possibly sway the voters in Anambra State to wanting to make him the next governor of the state?
Can you come back again? There was, the line stalled a little bit while you were talking. Could
Yes.
you come back a little bit so that I can get the full text of the question?
My question is, what is it that your party, the APC, and your candidate, Andiuba, is bringing to the table that would sway the voters in Anambra State to wanting to make him the next governor of the state?
We are bringing a whole lot to the table. We're bringing to the table of Anambra State a secured Anambra State. We are bringing education to the table in Anambra State. We are going to be creating jobs in Anambra State. Also, we are going to work on infrastructure in Anambra State. If you had come to Anambra State recently, you will agree with me that it's like there is no government in Anambra. The total infrastructure has collapsed. I don't know the last time you came to Anambra State. And again, we are going to, work on healthcare. We are going to, of course, make our agriculture one of the best, in the region. We are going to deploy high tech, and whatever it takes to get our agriculture to where it should have been by now. And then something that so many people, or rather the leaderships that had, been in Anambra for 16 years have not done. We are going to hold local government elections latest 6 months after we get into office. What do I mean? In the past 16 years, what you have is a local government appointed caretaker committees for 16 years and more. So what Andiuba has said is that within the first 6 months of his taking over office as the next governor of Anambra State, he will conduct a local government election for the first time in so many years, so that governance will trickle down to the grassroots. As you know, or rather, let me give you an example of what happens, right now. They have caretaker committees in local governments, and I know one local government, for example, that gets about 200 and something million naira per month. Do you know how much they get? 5 million naira to pay their salaries. And after that, nobody knows what happens to the rest. So that is sacrilegious, if you will. So Anambra is going to make sure that local government elections will be held and local government. Then, one of the things that we value and Andy values so much is gender. Every facet of government, there will be women, there will be men, and there will be youth properly represented. And again, you know that in Anambra State, erosion is a big, big issue. So we are going to work on the environment to make sure that the climate change and things of that nature that is coming to devastate our people is mitigated quick enough before it causes all kinds of damage. And of course, you know that there are so many youths in Anambra State. We are going to do the best to bring our youths, one, into governance. And remember that there are a number of great people who were sportsmen from Anambra State. So we're going to focus also on our youths and then the sports, youth and sports. And of course, provide adequate sports facilities for the youths of Anambra State. And I can assure you that none of these past governments have been able to bring this to the table.
Everything you have outlined just now are about almost the same thing that all the other candidates have been talking about. And they all seem to be talking about them in very vague terms. For instance, let's talk about security. Security is a major concern in Anambra and the entire Southeast at the moment. With the activities of separatist movement, IPOB, and so-called unknown gunmen and all of that, security has become an issue. Now, how specifically and within what time frame is your candidate looking at tackling the insecurity in the state?
Well, if you were here yourself, maybe some months ago, before the police and the army started moving, most of us were. As a matter of fact, we were, praying God that by all means let this election hold, so that Anambra people will choose someone who can do better than what they are seeing. Why? Because with all the security problems we have in Anambra, the Southeast governors got together and wanted to have a security session where they could outline all the issues, all the security problems, in every state, and particularly in Anambra State, so that those could be packaged and taken forth to the national level to be able to present it to the National Security Council. And guess what? The governor of Anambra State made sure he didn't attend that security meeting. I mean, that's unbelievable and unacceptable, because this is toying with lives of people, and then his reason, or who were supposed to be seated at the meeting, were complicit, in what is happening in Nigeria. But I thought that would have been an opportunity for the governor to go there, sit and look them in the face and say, you are the guys who are doing, what it takes to for security in Anambra State to remain very dangerous. But instead, he refused to attend the meeting. So what Anambra is going to do is that Anambra will partner, one, with the local government, of course, who we are going to elect. He is going to partner with the traditional institutions. He's going to partner with the churches. He's going to partner with, in fact, across the divide, so that we will know that what is happening is not supposed to be. His negotiating skills to make sure that security in Anambra State is restored. I'll remind you this. Remember, in the past, the issue of MASOP was very, very disruptive to the system of the Southeast, and Anambra was the first to go to jail to see the IPOB, or rather the MASOP Wazirike, you remember very clearly. And he initiated a negotiation which resolved that impasse at that time. So I expect, and I know he is committed that once he takes over as governor come March next year, he is going to get on ground, hold discussions, because of course you and I know that in every locality, you would easily know who is new in that locality. The traditional rulers know everybody is involved. It's not very difficult to locate this so-called unknown gunmen. Those are the first steps that will be taken. And then beyond that, we will install and supply technology that will be able to fish out these people. Things have changed so much that it is not everything that is done physically, if you will. You can locate people, with, some, intelligence, some electronic equipment. I'll give you an example. There's an electronic equipment which some friends of mine brought into this country at one point, which can stop any engine that is running on the road, i.e., if the police people have it on the road and you're driving past and they stop you, you refuse to stop. Once they ignite it on, your car will stop automatically. So there are things like that all over these miscreants who call themselves or who are called unknown gunmen. That's what we're going to do in security. We're going to deploy technology. We're going to negotiate. We are going to do whatever it takes. Anambra must be peaceful. Anambra should be one of the greatest states in Nigeria. And I mean what I'm saying. Anambra should be number one. Anambra, as a matter of fact, should be ahead of Lagos. But it's because the right people had not been in power, the right people had not been in government. That is why we are still trying. If you come to Anambra, you think you're in a village. When we have some of the richest men per capita, from Anambra State, when you create the environment, when you create an environment that will make them bring their businesses to Anambra, and they know that the place is safe, believe you me, what you are seeing in Lagos is a child's play. And we have spoken to many of them. They are in support of Andy. They are to make Anambra great. So that's what we're looking for. And I'm excited because, like I keep saying to people, our sons and daughters are all over the world. When they can be here and operate from here and still go all over the world to do what they want to do. We want to make Anambra the best state in Nigeria. And the good thing about Andy Uba is that Senator Andy Uba has said he is not going to be the governor of me, myself, and I. I am this, I am that, I am the only one, I have won this whole award, I have been chosen in the world to be the greatest professor of all times or the greatest
All right, Ambassador, please stay with us. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at other aspects of the campaign manifesto of the APC candidate, Senator Andy Uba. Stay with us. All right, welcome back, Ambassador Jerry Ugokwe. Now, before we went on the break, you were talking about the plans by your party and your candidate for security in Anambra State. Now, in the recent past, some of his opponents have pointedly accused him as being responsible for some of the security challenges in Anambra State. How does he and your party respond or react to those allegations?
You know, whenever I hear such things, you know, it just makes me laugh, because simply what it means is, if you don't have something to say, don't just, you know, grab something that you don't know about. The people who are talking, are they security experts? How can they talk about Andy? I don't know if you have met Andy. I don't know if you have exchanged, you know, ideas with him. You find that this is a guy who cannot hurt a fly. This is a guy who is a complete gentleman. I thought I was a gentleman, but when I met him, I think I found somebody who was a more gentleman than I am. So he is not anybody that I can think of who will go out of his way to look for ways to hurt other people, not to even hurt other people, but to also hurt a state that he is from. He is committed to Anambra State. All these people talking about Andy did this and Andy did that, let them tell us what they will do for us. That's what I expect them to do. I have reeled out to you now what Andy Uba is committed to doing. First of all, within 6 months, we hold a local government election. APGA ruled us for 16 years, no local government elections. We are going to create an environment where our people who are rich and who are famous will come back to Anambra State and invest, build industries of all kinds. We are out of this world, if you will, if you ask me. There are places in Anambra where if you eat the rice from there, you will never eat any other rice in Nigeria. So we need to improve all these things. Leave about people talking about Andy did this or Andy did that. They are scared of what he can do, because if Andy had been governor since 2007 and by now, such people will not even be coming out to be asking to be governors, because they will not be able to match, you know, his achievements. That's excuse me. That is the reason why. The reason is that these guys have nothing to bring on the table. It's just highfalutin speeches and talks and you know, big English that doesn't translate to anything. What I'm saying is that the way Andy Uba intends to beat this is that Andy says, I am going to appoint a crack team. I don't United States of America. Thank God I was in the US then, and I learned a lot. Reagan assembled the greatest team America has ever had, even up till today. Those who were in his team took America to a different level. That's what Andy Uba wants to do. Andy wants to bring a crack team that will take Anambra State to a different level. So because these people don't have the capacity to do that, that is why they are pointing accusing fingers where there is no need to do that. Let them tell you and I what they will do when they become governors of Anambra State. We are saying we are going to create different hubs. We are going to create engineering hubs. We're going to create IT hubs. You know that there are so many people from Anambra who are great IT experts. You know, one from Onitsha and a number of them. So we're going to bring them home. We're going to create the atmosphere for them. And what we're going to also do is that we're going to work in partnership with our brothers in the National Assembly, with our brothers and sisters in the State House of Assembly, with our brothers and sisters in the federal government, so that the right environment can be created. Infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. Once we have good infrastructure, when you invite these people to come in, they come in. Let me tell you this. One of the greatest ambitions that I have been you know, trying to flog Andy on is that if it is possible, Anambra State should even create its own monorail across the state. So that at the end of, by the end of that, you find that when you build roads, they will last. People will pay 50 naira and go from Onitsha to Oka. Agricultural products from Umuleri can get into the van and get to Lagos. Agricultural products from get to Onitsha and they will be sold. As you know, we are going to make Onitsha the greatest market ever. And again, remember Nnewi. If you know what happens in Nnewi, you know that if you create the right environment in Nnewi, people will not go to China anymore to go and manufacture, fake things and bring back to Nigeria.
Ambassador, you and your party seem to be very ambitious. And I'm just wondering, as I'm sitting here, where will all the funding for this come from? Where do you intend to get the funding to do all of this infrastructure?
With what I have seen, if the right thing, yes, with what I have seen so far, if you do the right things, I can tell you that the fund you're looking for is here in Anambra State. The fund you're looking for is in Onitsha. The fund you're looking for is in Nnewi. The fund you're looking for is in Ekulobia. The fund you're looking for is at Nobi. So what you need to do is to plug those loopholes. What they have done is that they have created monsters out of human beings who they have made SA parks, SA collection of taxes, SA collection of revenues or whatever. If you make those systems very tight, close all the loopholes, and mind you, these days you can collect those things in a more civilized manner, not some agberos running around and beating people with sticks and collecting monies from them and putting in the pocket. We can develop a system where these things can be done through the internet, through IT, so that you see how the funds are flowing. If you arrange these things, I don't think these monies I'm talking about to build rails or for example, to build correct infrastructure in Anambra State will be lucky. Rich men, when they see that you are doing right, they will repatriate your money and support you. And remember, as people are making money from Anambra State, that means they will pay more taxes, they will pay more levies, and much, much more money will come into the system. It is not rocket science. It is just doing the right thing, getting committed people. I just want to tell you that some of us will fight and do what it takes to make Anambra great with the last pint of our sweat. Those are the kinds of people you need. And then they will look at it, not how much money they can steal from the system, not what they can take from the system, but what they can put into the system, so that our sons and daughters, our children and grandchildren will be proud of what we have left for them, so that they will stop running to go and live in America. They can live in Anambra State, they can live in Oka, they can live in Onitsha, and do business everywhere else in the world. That's what we're looking at doing. And I can tell you that if we vote Anambra on Saturday, believe you me, Anambra will never, read my lips, Anambra will never be the same again. And many people have asked me questions. How, this, the APC that people were looking at as a party that was not a compassionate party, that was not a party that Anambra people or the Igbos liked. I tell you what, people were so confused at some point that so many people are leaving their parties, the so-called APGA and PDP, and coming into APC. And at one of the rallies, one woman said, look, this APC is different. And I asked why. He says, because of Anambra. Right there and then, you know what the woman did? She composed the song, and the song goes this way. There is something that makes me Anambra, APC, Anambra. There is something that makes me come into APC, Anambra. So you see that one person can make a lot of difference. And that is what we're looking forward to in Anambra State.
All right.
Remember what
Let
George Bush said in those days. He
Mm.
said 1,000 points of light. What that means is that when you are where you are and you are a light shining amongst people around you, when there are 1,000 of you, they will illuminate the whole space. That's what we want to create in Anambra. Andy will stand as a governor, would have his own light, his own candle light. I will stand wherever I find myself with my own candle light. When 1,000 of us have our candle lights lit in the development of Anambra will be illuminated. And believe you me, in Anambra, you're going to tell me, Jerry, you are a prophet. But I'm not a prophet. I'm only saying I will be committed to doing the right thing.
All right, let's talk about healthcare. That's another very critical area of development that is most often neglected, not just in Anambra State, but across other states in Nigeria. The healthcare system in this country is hardly anything to write home about. And even so, in Anambra State today, what is it that you have on your party's agenda, your party's manifesto and program, and that of your candidate, Andiuba, that will hope to transform the healthcare sector in Anambra State?
One of the things we have done, during the campaign, we took a census of people from Anambra who are medical doctors. Thousands of people who are from Anambra who are medical doctors. There are thousands of people who are from Anambra who are nurses. There are thousands of people from Anambra who are pharmacists, i.e., many of them in the medical profession. And guess what? We went further to do a study to see if all these thousands of people we're talking about, are they in Nigeria to start with? Are they offering their services, their wonderful services in Nigeria? And the answer is no. More than 60% of them are out of these shores of Nigeria. So we have, the last time we were abroad to talk to some Nigerians and some Anambrans, we decided for them to form groups. We have them as doctors, nurses, those in the medical profession, those in the engineering profession, and we have them segmented in that order. That as soon as Andy wins, and to bring some of them back to Anambra State so that we can have a healthcare system that will work for the Anambra people. We can, there are so many of them who have experience. So, the last time I was in Washington, I was in Maryland, there were many of them who were in charge of many medical institutions. And I asked them, why can't you bring this back to Nigeria? You know what they told me? The environment is not conducive. So we're going to create that conducive environment for our medical doctors, for our health personnel, so that, some of the best hospitals will be located in Anambra State. Some of the best healthcare systems will be located in Anambra State. And this is not rocket science, for example. Once you can have steady power supply, once you can have supply of medical equipment, and once you can have the personnel who can handle them and handle them with passion, I think the sky we have had full discussions as a team on some of these things. And I know that Andy Uba is committed. The members of the team all members of the team are committed to making sure. And that's why I highlighted it when I was talking about what we are going to do. Because health is wealth. If you're not healthy, you cannot be talking about being the richest people in the world or in the state or in what have you. So our people must be healthy. We must teach them healthy living. And those of them who are ill must be treated in a professional manner that they will recover and be fruitful and be useful to the society. Those are the things we want to do. And we have the numbers to back it. We have done analysis of this. I wish this was where I can reel out the numbers, because if you start doing it, maybe you will need to take times of, we're ready. Let me say that we're ready. We're ready to, we're good to go.
You just spoke about the power situation in Anambra State and in Nigeria, and the way you speak, you seem to suggest that Anambra State will be an oasis in a desert environment as far as power is concerned. How do you intend to provide enough power for a state like Anambra with all its very, very productive?
You know, I told you that one of, sorry, okay. Go
Yes,
ahead.
please go on. I was just going to ask how you intend to do that to provide sufficient power for all the industries that you are talking about creating in Anambra. I mean, of course, Anambra State is known for its industrial nature and for its very hard-working people who require and need power to do a lot more. So how do you intend to do that?
You know, I served as Nigeria's ambassador. Yes, you know, I served as Nigeria's ambassador to Austria, and I took my time to go and study what was the what made Austria tick. And in one of the processes, I found out that even one of the companies that built the first power plant in Nigeria came from Austria. At the time when the power plants were being was deteriorating, they came back to Nigeria, and they wanted to help us revamp it and renew it, if you will. And they did their proposals, met a number of people, and when they left the country, what happened? Some guys went to some China, some countries, and brought some people. And that is why up to today, we're not having the kinds of supplies of power, so much money too. Now, but what are we going to do in Anambra? Like you said, we are going to create so many industries that it would be an industrial hub of all kinds, in Anambra State when we come in. Now, I remember when I was talking, I was saying we are going to work in collaboration with our brothers and sisters in the National Assembly. We are going to work in collaboration with our brothers and sisters in the cabinet. Now, some of these things are in the exclusive list. Some of them are in the concurrent list. So what we are going to do, those that are in the concurrent list, which the law allows us to go ahead and take care of, we will do them. Those in the exclusive legislative list, we are going to work through our brothers and sisters who are in the National Assembly and in the cabinet to make sure that provisions are made for them, that provisions are made to Anambra State. Now, one of the things that I know is that if Anambra begins to do well, nobody will even tell you, that Anambra is, people will begin to support you. It will be open. It's not hidden. When a state is doing well, it is not hidden. People will know, even from where I fell, that this place is now a changed state. And that's what we want to showcase in Anambra. I've told you that one is going to require a lot of funding. But we're going to plug all leakages, in collection agencies. We are going to digitalize most of it. So if you collect money, it goes straight and we see it, in the treasury, and we allocate it to where it should go to do the necessary works that it's supposed to do. That's what we want to do. We are passionate about Anambra. And I wish you could sit into one of these our strategic meetings that we have been having, and we hope to continue to have when and vote en masse for APC and the Broom, because we need to sweep away bad governance. We need to bring in good governance. Anambra should not be what we are seeing now. Some of us are getting older and we are disappointed that our children and our grandchildren will have to chase us out of this world for bequeathing a state that ought to be the best as the last in Nigeria. We are not going to allow that. We will use the last point of our sweat to make sure that it's happened. That's why people like us are involved in this project, not for anything, but for the fact that, you know, we can't be going outside somewhere and seeing good things and we come home and see, you know, have our eyes closed as if we're not looking at. And we all come to live in Abuja, come to live in Lagos, and then our state, Anambra, is suffering.
All right.
That's why we are doing what we're doing.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ogokwe.
There are many people like me, you know, who are determined to it, God willing.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Jerry Ogokwe. We wish you, your party, and your candidate the best of luck in Saturday's election. And hopefully, we should be able to talk again after the elections and see how it all went. Thank you so much. Ambassador Jerry Ogokwe, he is a member of the National Campaign Council for Andy Uba of the APC in Saturday's governorship election. He's a former member of Nigeria's House of Representatives, former Nigeria's ambassador to Austria, Slovakia, and was also a permanent representative of Nigeria to the UN offices in Vienna and the OPEC. Thank you so much for your time. Well, that's our program for today on Nigeria Votes. Join us again at 1 p.m. on Friday, tomorrow that is, and 3 p.m. again on Friday, when we bring you other editions of the program in the run-up to the elections proper on Saturday. My name is Imoni Amarere. Bye for now.